Hey everybody, this is Steve, Monday Chief Forecaster for Rowan County Weather, interviewing another great young lady that's a softball player today. I'm delighted to be interviewing this young lady for many reasons, but the most uh, important reason is I've known this young lady really from the day she was born. Uh, I don't know if that's good for her or not, but for me, it's been a pleasure to watch her grow up. And her name is Lexie Ritchie. And just to give you some background on Lexie, she plays softball at South Rowan. She also plays for the Brawley Cobras as well, and she's going to give us some more detail on her. But Lexi, I obviously know you. There are folks that do know you, but there's also folks watching this right now that don't know you. So tell us a little bit about Lexi Ritchie and who she is.
So I'm Lexie Ritchie. I'm a junior at South Rowan High School, and I take several AP classes looking into going to college to major in exercise science. I intern with our athletic trainer, so I'm at a ton of like all different sports games, no matter if it's softball, obviously, and then football, anything like that. I'm on the sidelines helping out with injuries. Um, I have played softball since I was 8 years old, starting at China Grove Little League and then moved into travel ball. And I've played travel ball ever since. So I played for the 2019 World Series Championship team, and I was our one of our right fielders. Went out to Portland, Oregon, and Georgia. Got to go through that whole experience. It was really, really neat. Um, I also played for the Carolina Cobras Brawley, which is my showcase softball team. We traveled to mainly like Virginia, South Carolina. We stay a lot around North Carolina though, because most of us want to go to schools close to home. I've played with most of the same people on my team since I was probably 12. I started out with Extreme Performance when I was 10 and stayed with them until last year, and then I moved into the Carolina Cobras. So
And Lexi, what made you fall in love with softball? When was your first memory of really wanting to play softball and getting involved with it?
when I was little, I danced until I was, I think, 6. And I never really liked dance. And I'd always talk to dad about how I wanted to try something different. And dad had many friends that played or had daughters or coached softball. And he was like, we should try this just to see if you like something, try something new. So we started at China Grove Little League, and I learned like the fundamentals, and it was fun. I didn't know a lot about it then, so I hadn't really fallen in love with it, but I knew that it was something I wanted to try. A coach of a travel team named Jamie Beach contacted my dad and told him that I needed to get on a travel team. So he got me in with the Carolina Force. I started there. I was on Matt Brown's team, and there's when I really fell in love with the game. Matt Brown taught me so much and really helped me to grow and learn new things. And the team was awesome. I loved everyone on it. And from then on, I just really decided like this is what I want to do. Like it's my escape. It's where I something I find fun, something I can go to, and I know that I can go there and not have to worry about anything. So right then's when I really knew I wanted to play in college.
You spoke of your dad, and I know your parents obviously, and you know they're certainly the kind of parents that really get involved. They help. You know, they get behind their child and their sports and all that. And you know, it's good to see. And you know, tell me what that's meant to you in terms of growing up and knowing that your parents are there 100% for you, no matter where they have to go with you to help you live out the softball dream.
It's obviously been it's made the sport so much more fun having people that support me and that want me to grow, because having someone that's behind you and pushing you to be the best that you can be is just awesome, and it really helps you to push yourself when you know that other people believe in you. My dad has been my coach for since I was 8, actually. He doesn't coach my travel team now, but he does. He's assistant coach on South Rowan. And at all times. Like there's never a moment that I don't think that he isn't proud of me. I know that no matter what happens, he's always going to be there for me, and he will support me no matter what. And I also, my mom, she makes her own schedule. She's very busy. She works really hard, but she would do anything to be able to go anywhere and watch me play. They've always been behind me. They're behind my sisters no matter what they did. And it just really makes you want to be better and make them proud, because you know that they're your number one supporters and they're always going to be rooting for you no matter what.
Tell us about a day in the life of Lexie Ritchie, aside from softball. What's your normal day to day kind of consist of? Obviously, you go to school right now, but what does Lexie Ritchie do when she gets away from the softball field and can just be Lexie Ritchie?
Um, I spend majority of my time with my friends. That's a really big part of my life. Like I'm always at softball, so any chance I get to hang out with them and escape and do what girls do, go shopping, or when I hang out with other people, we may go riding or fishing or whatever it may be. Just anything where I can spend time with the people that I love. It's something I really enjoy. Um, I'm in youth. I go to charity Baptist youth groups at midweek and church on Sundays. So I'm at church. That's another thing I do, like outside of softball. Even like when we're at tournaments, sometimes like me and dad will listen to the church service if we can, or if we have a game break. But really just family and friends, spending as much time as I can with them, and going to church is what I consist of every day.
And let's hold with that right there for a moment. So, I've just knowing you personally as long as I have, and of course my wife has taught you in school, and my daughter obviously knows you. One of our, not that we've never not been proud of you, but one of our proudest moments of you came earlier this year at the memorial service at Carson High School for Dalton Gay. Obviously, a very somber evening for anyone that was there attending, but they invited folks to come up and either reconnect with the Lord if they had lost connection with Him, or maybe just make a new connection with Him. And you went up. Tell us a little bit about that, because I can tell you that we had some wet eyes where we were sitting. So tell everybody about that experience.
So I was saved when I was little, but I knew what it meant to be saved, but I didn't know how hard it would get to follow in the steps I needed to follow. So as I got older, I grew away from God, and I didn't like, I knew Him and I would talk to Him, but not as much as I should. So when we were at Dalton's memorial, something like kept telling me like you need to talk to someone. And at first I was like, I can do it later. And then when they invited people to come down and everything, like something told me, I was like, okay, like you have to go, like you have to. So when I went down there, I talked to him and I rededicated my life to Christ. And immediately after that, like I just felt completely different. I didn't feel like I had any more worries. Like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and it was incredible. Something that I would say, if someone asked me why I believe in God so much and why I know that He is there, is because in that moment, nothing mattered. Everything just felt okay. I didn't have any worries. And no matter how sad that moment was and where we were at, right then, I just felt calm and at peace. And as a teenager, not too many times you just feel at peace. There's always something that's bothering you or going on, and so much goes on in life. And He just really brought me peace in that moment and continues to do it to that day, to this day.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and it was just a fantastic thing to see. So certainly glad we got to be there to experience that with you. Would obviously have preferred for it to be for completely different main reason, but you certainly made the night absolutely worth being there. That's for sure. Um, let's go back to softball now. So you've obviously played since you were 8. You've had a lot of experiences in softball, whether it be traveling or whatever. You did play for the 2019 World Series team, as you said. And you guys, when you came back to town, big parade for you. You showed up in the middle of the square. A lot of folks gathered there that night when you got back home. What was that like for you to get back and come back to all of that?
I knew that we had people behind us, especially like our family and our friends, everyone that was there in Portland to watch us. And I guess in the moment, I didn't really think about everyone back home that was rooting us on. I mean, they would post it, they would talk about it, but I guess until you really see it, you don't understand it. So when we got back that night, just seeing the whole community coming together and rallying behind us and showing us how much they believed in us and how proud of us they were, like it was something really special. And I'm glad I got to experience it because it really just shows how tight our community is and how much they put behind people and how much faith they have in them. And it really was just an amazing experience. And I wish everyone could experience it because it's a feeling that you can't describe.
These games were televised. We got to watch all of them. My family and I, we sat here and watched all of them on ESPN Plus, and really just it was kind of neat. Not only seeing you on the field, but hearing them call your name and all that. Seeing a seeing Lexie in a totally different way. But it was also really neat to, I mentioned your parents earlier. It was neat to see your dad, Brian, at one point standing on the side of the field, coaching away. Saw your mom sitting in the stands. And then one really neat thing that we haven't talked about yet are your sisters, Kelsey and Mallory. Saw both of them also sitting in the stands on TV there. As you said, your family's been really behind you on this. How important was that to you to not only go play in those games, be on television, but also know not only that your parents were there, but your sisters were there rooting you on as well?
My sisters have always been a huge part of my life and they've always supported me in many ways. But traveling and going somewhere as like they were both there in Georgia, going to Georgia with me was a really big deal because they're both much older than me. So they have jobs and it's hard for them to take off. And I understood that at the time. But just knowing that they came all that way to support their little sister, it really made me feel really good because I would always go to Kelsey's dance competitions and maybe I wasn't the happiest to be there because I did not like dance, but if I could go back and redo it and support her the way she supported me, I would. So it just made me feel really special.
That's good. So, any pressure knowing that all those cameras were there? I mean, this was really your first, I think, real main shot at being on TV as much as you were for this, knowing that you were not only in front of a national audience, but for anybody that could actually get that streaming service, they could watch it from anywhere around the world. So, did you feel any pressure from that, or did you even realize those cameras were even there?
There was definitely pressure. I tried my best not to think about it because if you get way too nervous, then it kind of messes you up a little bit. But there was definitely some pressure, and it was scary at first. But as the games went on, it we kind of got used to it because starting in Georgia, we were on camera. So by the time we got to Portland, we were kind of used to it by then. But every game, there was definitely some nervousness, and even off the field, we would still get interviewed and it was just there's definitely times where you're like, oh, I wonder who's watching me now. And it was kind of wild.
What was your, aside from all that, what's been your most memorable moment? And it doesn't even have to be involved with softball, just in general, most memorable and favorite moment that you've had so far in life.
My favorite moment in life has been when I rededicated my life to Christ at Dalton's Memorial because that just is something that's really special to me. And the way that you feel is a feeling that you won't feel that too many times in life. So
That's a great moment to call out. What about your most adverse moment in life to this point?
So my most adverse moment definitely is in softball. I've had last season, schools or South Iran season, I pulled a muscle in my back and I'm like, we had two pitchers, but you can't play every single game with one pitcher. So I had to work through that pain. And there was many games that it ended in tears and just having to work through that and knowing that even though I was giving all my effort and doing the best I could, I wasn't at my best potential because I physically couldn't be there. And then a while back, I think in the seventh grade during travel ball, I inflamed my UCL and had to take 4 weeks off and had to go through a whole new throwing progression and do all this arm care stuff. And those are just really mentally challenging. They're physically challenging with trying to heal, but mentally challenging. You just feel like you're not improving, that you're just slowly falling behind in your sport because you can't be at the same potential everyone else is at because your body isn't 100%.
Mhm. Yep, I understand that completely. So as we get into the holiday season, what is your favorite Christmas tradition that you like to do, either by yourself, with friends, or with your family?
So every Christmas, for as long as I've been alive, we go to my great grandparents' house. They are 92, and we have Christmas lunch with my mom's whole side of the family. And that's just something that, since it's been around and we've done it every single Christmas, I find that really, really special. And especially getting to see my great grandparents, it's just fantastic. I love getting with the whole family every Christmas, and we have a great time.
So, we just had National Signing Day last week for a lot of softball players, especially some of the young ladies and have played with over the course of your softball career. Next season will be your opportunity. If and I know you've expressed some interest in playing at different places. I know you and I have talked offline, in the past about places you'd like to go play. Uh, Tell me some of those schools. Well, tell me again, but tell anyone watching some of those schools that you would like to go play for. If you get the opportunity to play in college.
So there's a few schools that I'd like to go to. I don't really want to go D1. I prefer to go D2 or lower just because I like small schools and I like to be closer to home. My number one is Chowan University in Murfreesboro. I love their coach, love their campus. It's beautiful up there. And then I've looked into Gaston and USC Aiken, but those are great schools also. And Chowan's just really, it's great there, and the people there are amazing.
I'm glad you said that too, because one of the things that I heard during an interview last week, I was interviewing Jessica Charman, who is a she had played college soccer, and now she's the voice of the Charlotte FC on radio. And one of the things that she mentioned was that, the most important thing that anyone can take that's getting ready to go to college is you don't have to play for D1 to be just as successful in anything you choose to do in life. You can do it in D2, D3, uh, you know, because it's a little controversial to some folks because a lot of folks think you have to go D1 or you're just not going to get the same opportunities. But you really have the equal opportunity playing even for a small school. It's all about how you sell yourself personally. So I was glad to hear you say that. I think you're going to get a much more personal experience there. You're going to enjoy it more, and the opportunities are certainly there for you. Um, so, what would be your advice to any softball players that are growing up now? Whether they're going through elementary school or middle school, or even just starting to get into high school like you are. What would be your advice to your underclassmen that are coming up?
Be confident in yourself. Don't beat yourself up and never give up because confidence is key. I've struggled with confidence a good bit, and my dad can advocate on that because he constantly talks to me about it. But if you have confidence, it makes the game so much more fun. So just stay confident, work as hard as you can, and you'll be good to go. Just always know that as long as you're giving 100% and doing the best that you can, there's nothing else you can do. So it doesn't matter if you're the best on the team or not. Everyone has their part of the team. It doesn't even mean if you're even on the field, you could be on the team to hype people up or spread God's word. Like, you never know. Just always know you have a place no matter what it is. So don't get discouraged and always be confident.
So, Lexi, as we get ready to wrap up, just a few more quick questions for you. So, stepping away from softball, I noticed on social media when the county fairs and everything were coming through, you did go over to the Iredell County Fair and got involved in a little event over there that I found to be pretty neat. But why don't you tell everybody about what you did over there at the Iredell County Fair?
So I'm in animal science for our school's FFA. and she had told us about sheep showing. So at first I was like, I kept telling mom and dad, I was like, I don't know why I would do that. Like, I'm not, there's no way. So as class went on, we went out, we hung out with the sheep, and I made a bond with one sheep that I named Sheila. So Sheila was my sheep, and I decided to show her. But me and one of my friends at the time, we both wanted to show her. So we decided to split it. So I showed at the Iredell County Fair, and she showed at Rowan County. So we went to the fair, and we had to walk the sheep in a circle, and then you had to stand in front of them and hold their neck up and everything so the judge could look at them. And I didn't place in the showmanship. I mean, it was my first time, so I'm not upset about that. But I got fourth, fourth or fifth. I'm not quite sure which one in the hair division. It's like they look at what the sheep's hair is and who has the best. So really, it's just I had a decent sheep, but me and Sheila had a great bond. I loved her. They took her back to the farm. I asked mom if we could buy her. She said no. I was going to keep her in the backyard, but I miss her. She's my friend.
Well, on that, I know you're an animal lover. You guys have several dogs, and that's part of why I wanted to transition into that is because I know you are just really big on animals. I remember back a few years ago, you were die hard for I think a golden retriever, and you were willing to do anything you could to get a golden retriever. So talk to us about the dogs you guys have there, because I know you've got a couple of them. So
So I definitely was die hard for a golden retriever. I still am. I really, really want a golden retriever. They shed a lot, so moms, even though we have a chocolate lab that sheds, she says no. But they settled for a golden doodle named Milo. He is two. Two? Yes, he is two. And he's different. He just lays around all day and he doesn't know how to catch a ball in the air, but it's okay. We love him. He's a little special, but he's my favorite. And then we have Toby. He's our little Yorkie. He's very feisty. He's like an ornery old man, but he's cute, so I guess he can get away with it. And then we have our chocolate lab, Samson. He's just a big teddy bear and wants to sit on your lap all day. But they're my favorite. We've had a lot of dogs over the years, but I would say I have the closest bond with Milo. Mom and dad let me name him. He was mom's Valentine's Day present, but I claim him. But dogs are definitely a big part of my life, and I don't think dad says we're not getting any more, but I don't think mom's gonna let that happen.
earlier you mentioned you work with the training staff. You volunteer with the training staff at South Row Inn. You're obviously you have a love for animals. What's Lexie planning on doing beyond softball and beyond college?
When I get out of college, I want to be a athletic trainer, and I think being an athletic trainer for NASCAR would be really, really cool. That's something that I've been looking into, but I definitely want to start at a high school with sports, especially because sports have been a big part of my life. So I really enjoy anything involved around that. So start out with athletic training and then move into physical therapy and work with mainly injured athletes, working on not only the physical part with them, but also trying to help their mental health.
Sounds like you got a good plan in place. And Lexi, I certainly appreciate the time you gave us today. Anything we haven't covered yet that you want to tell anybody watching?
Speaking of the mental health part
Mhm.
of injuries with athletes, I'm in an AP research class at school, and we get to come up with a research problem that no one has researched yet. So I'm researching how to help teenage athletes gain positive thoughts and motivation during an injury. So that's one of the main things with like athletic training and physical therapy. I am really big on athletes' mental health because I think many people say that athletes shouldn't have mental health issues. They say they should be able to deal with them on their own because they're athletes and they should be independent. But I know how hard it is and what you go through. So I'm really big on helping athletes with mental health, helping them with what they're going through. So if there's any athletes or anyone out there that ever needs to talk, I always have my messages open.
great to hear. And for anyone that's watching this, that if you don't know how to get a hold of Lexi, you can certainly get a hold of me, and I will pass the information along to her, and she will, I'm sure, get back to you as soon as she can. But I'm glad to hear you say that too, because there obviously is some mental health issues that athletes do deal with. I mean, a lot of pressure on athletes, especially in today's society with social media and everything else. And then if you're a football player, or a NASCAR driver, really, you can get involved with concussions. I mean, there's, multiple ways that an athlete's mental health can be affected. So I'm glad to hear you doing that. And I certainly wish you the best of luck in your research. And even if someone's watching that can contribute to your research, I'm sure you'd be interested in that as well, wouldn't
Yes, that would be greatly appreciated.
you? Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Lexi, again, I certainly appreciate your time. Obviously, like I said, and it's no stranger to anyone that we've known each other, for all of your life. And yeah, I certainly think highly of you, and my wife, and daughter certainly think a lot of you and your family as well. Well, all except for your mom, really, but other than that, everybody else is good. But again, just thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.